A year ago today, Hurricane Ian made landfall in Florida, leaving devastating damage. Today, we recap the storm and how cities are moving forward.
And around the world, a powerful storm brings heavy rain to parts of Greece.
Plus, it's the last supermoon of the year. We're on your side with the best time to catch it and when it will be at its peak.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
And welcome into Weather Extra, Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt.
And not Chief. Meteorologist Tania Michelle. I'm trying to steal your job.
Just jump right in there, Tania. Look, today the weather out there. I was over in Cropwell. Went on a weather visit today. It was incredible today.
Oh yeah, how was it? Tell me about it.
Well, it was nice. You know, it was a little hot during the afternoon, but you know, we started out this morning. We had some clouds around. We had some dry conditions, so it actually felt pretty good early in the day.
Well, that's good because I was stuck in the building, so I'm glad you just told me what the day was like outside. Actually.
Well, you know, you were giving us the first alert, right?
Always.
You were filling us in. I know earlier today we had the new tropical storm Rena, which formed. That's something we're going to be talking about. But let's talk about the next big thing right now. As we go to our graphics, you can see where most of the rain's been happening down across the state of Florida. We've been seeing a system stalled out there, but not a lot of wet weather for us. The overall setup for us is still very dry. As we get to that sunset here at 6:36, looking live from Sanders Aviation in Walker County. What a view out there for this evening. Look at the view from right here on Red Mountain. Tania, we may have to sneak out and grab a photo here. It looks just absolutely incredible. But the thing is, tonight, with it being dry, it's going to feel quite pleasant. And we told you about the full moon. I've had a lot of folks on Facebook. I thought the full moon's tomorrow. Well, it is, but once the moon rises tonight, it's not going to set until well after midnight. So we're going to have the full moon overnight tonight and into tomorrow, and then again tomorrow evening. But it's the harvest moon. It's a last supermoon of 2023. But make sure if you download our First Alert weather app. That's a great way to directly get those photos to us, but you can share those moon photos for this evening. But I'm always impressed with a lot of the photos you send to us. I don't know, some of these phones are just absolutely incredible, but looking forward to some weather pictures. It should be a perfect evening. As you can see there, hourly forecast, temperatures there cooling off into the mid-70s. That's the thing about late September and October. It gets very dry this time of the year, so you enjoy those. You can just tell it's fall. You get the crisp feel. It's not quite as sticky. And tomorrow morning, again, some nice weather, which will continue into the weekend, but we finally have a little bit of rain that we're going to be talking about for late next week. That's coming up in First Alert Weather.
Well, Wes, in Jefferson County, a special celebration today in honor of one of the county's emergency management agency workers. Mrs. Gaynell White receiving a proclamation today after 28 years of service with the Jefferson County EMA. Before her retirement, she worked as a part of the Emergency Operations Center, matter of fact, and assisted with cooking, cleaning, and washing as a way to help disaster victims. How kind of her. Oh, look at that smile. She recounts the Easter tornado of 1998 being a time she will always remember.
Being in the EOC overnight for almost a month, you know, it took a toll on the people there. It took a toll on the county. And I pray for those people all the time that their lives are normal again, that they have peace. You know, because that really wrecked a lot of lives.
Now that's a woman of service and a woman of heart. Her next step, she says, is doing what God wants her to do. And that's whether that's staying home or just taking care of her grandkids or her family. How sweet. Wes.
What an incredible story, Tania. Today marks the 1-year anniversary since Hurricane Ian made landfall in southwest Florida. I remember at the time, you know, we were drawing lots of comparisons to Hurricane Charlie. Remember tracking that system. But when Ian made landfall, it's a strong Category 4 hurricane. Several communities were destroyed and several lives were lost. At least 150 people with Ian. This morning, the city of Cape Coral unveiled a rock memorial to honor and remember the many lives that were lost in that storm. The city manager saying it will also serve as a reminder of the community's resiliency during and after the storm. So we also had a chance to speak with meteorologist John DeBlock from the National Weather Service. We were talking about, with the warning coordination meteorologist, we spoke about the impacts of the hurricanes during the hurricane season and how El Niños had an impact on that season. Are you surprised with how the hurricane season so far has panned out? Any surprises that you've seen?
Well, I got to admit, I was maybe a little bit skeptical when they upgraded that forecast midsummer for a more active season, knowing that El Nino was coming. And the forecast has actually panned out. Fortunately, the majority of that activity is happening out in the middle of the Atlantic. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I guess if you're going to have an active season, it's better off to be out in the fish in the middle of the Atlantic than it is in the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, you know, with the last system that made a landfall in Florida, it developed so quickly, and it seems to me like you look back at the year Michael happened, that was a fast developing tropical system, and it seemed like it was one of those El Nino type years.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly the storms can develop and intensify. And that's typically what will happen when you get a storm that develops in the Gulf. Rapid intensification is not uncommon. So, and that was an El Nino-like year. When we're in the El Nino year, generally speaking, that means that there's, on the average, there's more shear in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That really prevents the storms from developing significantly. If you get a break in that shear, you've got all that, the lid's been on that energy all summer long. You lift the lid off the pot and it kind of boils over real quickly. So that's kind of the phenomenon I think that we were looking at.
Around the world, Greece saw several months of rain in under 24 hours. This is after Storm Elias impacted the country. Volos, Greece, seeing about 11 inches of rain in 14 hours, with their average rainfall for the month being 1 inch. The city also seeing 10 times over the average rainfall amount earlier this month when Storm Daniel passed through. Scattered showers and storms will continue and remain in Greece over the next couple of days, but won't be as strong as the last few days. And in Switzerland, the glaciers are shrinking at an alarming rate. This makes it their worst melt on record, losing 10% of its volume in 2 years. The loss is also equal to what was lost over a 30-year period between 1960 and 1990. New records show that a combination of low snowfall and extremely warm temperatures caused the melting. And in 30 seconds, we'll be bringing you a special sideline report of the week forecast, sideline of the week forecast. That's in 30 seconds. Stay with us right here.
Good evening. My name is Ray LeDuc, a sophomore here at Marion County High School, bringing you the WBRC Fox 6 News Sideline Game of the Week weather forecast. At kickoff, it'll be nice 77 degrees, bringing us a great night for football. For the halftime homecoming festivities, it'll be 75 degrees with no chance of rain. At the end of the game, it'll be 72 degrees, giving you a great ride home. Go Big Red!
All right, great job there, Reagan, sending us the sideline game of the week. That's going to be out in Marion County. We're getting ready and excited for another big week of high school football, or another big night of high school football coming up tomorrow night. So stay tuned in the coming weeks to see if your school will be featured. And today I also had a pleasure of visiting Cropwell Baptist Church. A fun visit today. I was over in Cropwell, just south of Pell City, and a wonderful group there. We talked a lot about the seasonality and the hurricane season, the weather, and what I do, of course, as a meteorologist. And you know, where I go, I take the guitar. So we played a few songs, and how about this? They had a guitar cake that was strawberry flavored cake. It was incredible, but what an incredible job. I want to thank Diane McCoy for the invite, and she actually had that wonderful creation there, Tania. But a fun group, wonderful group there at Cropwell Baptist Church, and a lot of great questions there today. And of course, you know, right now's the time, this time of the year, I always say if you need to plan a birthday party, plan a wedding, you get into October, it's typically a very dry time of the year. The only thing is you got football every weekend, so you want to kind of get out there and enjoy some of the fall festivities this time of the year. But this is really a calm time. But once we get into late October into November, things really start to become more active.
Yeah, Wes, and I just want to thank you for sharing the cake with the entire WBRC team. We enjoyed it. It was delicious. And thank you once again to all of you that supported Wes by giving that wonderful cake. We really appreciate that. Well, to all the stargazers out there, tonight will be one you don't want to miss. Take a look at this. It's the last supermoon. Wes was talking about it. It's the last one of the year, so don't miss it. This is also being called the harvest moon, like Wes mentioned, and it will peak around 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. The moon will be closer to Earth, making it seem bigger and brighter. Other cool names include the corn moon or moon of brown leaves. And in Texas, falling water levels at Canyon Lake has uncovered an interesting sight. Take a look at this. An underwater cave has been revealed after severe drought has affected parts of Texas. The remnants of a community that used to be in the area has also begun to reappear. Since Canyon Lake was built to help with flood control, it's not uncommon to find cities in these lakes. Officials are asking boaters to use caution when in the lake due to exposed objects. Still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, why one ranch is seeing an overflow of pumpkins and just in time for fall. What's Matt and Mickey doing in their package? Wes is asking, are they doing the kickoff? Yeah, that too. What's in their events?
What's their events?
The marathon? Oh.
Okay, I hope that they're using the same forecast that I used.
You hope they are using the same?
Well, they're Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt today. And what's happening with Weather Extra, Mickey and Matt bring you some fun events happening. It's going to be a big weekend from football to races. Let's check out the weather forecast. Well, don't worry, I'll have it for you coming up right here. I want to show you, by the way, this is a new camera that we have today just online. This is in Pickens County. This is our First Alert Sky Vision camera in reform from Alabama Property Development. The temperature 80 degrees here in Pickens County. Let's go ahead and check in on that forecast. And right now, first off, the current condition from Tuscaloosa, 82 degrees, a mostly clear sky. We'll check out Birmingham's temperature at 80. So yeah, that temperature's dropping nicely here for this evening. It's going to feel nice out there. Notice the humidity. It's down in 58% East Alabama. Look at Anniston, 77 degrees. Yeah, it feels like fall here across East Alabama, and the muggy meter is on the low end of the scale right on through the weekend. So the morning's still quite crisp. We got Talladega Saturday and Sunday, big weekend. Hot during the afternoon. It's more of a dry heat, however, with those highs close to 90 degrees. But check out what happens here in the long range. I'm still seeing indications here that we could see our first big push of cooler air, possibility of a front arriving later in the week. The chance for some wet weather. You can see showers possible by next Thursday. Now, this is a week out. This is some of the global data, which may back off. It may change. A lot of times when you get into these dry spells, it's tough to get that rain back in here, but there's still a chance. You can see for some showers coming back. The model data suggesting next Thursday and Friday. And behind this, that's when some cooler air can make its way into our area. So we're talking about a front making its way through. First cool surge, some of the data showing just to our north, maybe some 40s coming back around October the 8th. And actually this time last year, we had overnight lows down into the 40s. So this is not too uncommon, and there's certainly it's coming. You know that. It's just when, and it looks like next week, late next week, we could certainly have a nice drop in temperatures. Live look from Chelsea. That's at Boardman Carr Law Firm. The out-the-door forecast in the 60s for a lot of areas tomorrow morning, but a nice start to our Friday. Yeah, it's going to be a little toasty during the afternoon, but as we mentioned, perfect weather for Sideline tomorrow evening after we top out in the 80s. Here's our First Alert 7-day forecast, and for the weekend, highs close to 90, mostly sunny sky, and in the next week you can see dry weather, and again that chance for showers on Thursdays. But we are certainly going to be watching Wednesday, especially beyond Wednesday and towards the end of next week, because by that point I know right now we need rain, but we will really need that rainfall, of course, towards the end of next week. Tania?
Yeah, Wes, I 100% agree with you. It's time to pull out those water hoses, tend to your yard just a little bit because of this dry weather over the next several days. But a big part of fall is also the pumpkins. And in California, with the help of an extra wet winter, Nash Ranch in California is seeing the fruit of their labor, literally. Sam Shamenti has the story.
Nash Ranch, a true symbol of fall in Shasta County. And in the 33 years that this pumpkin patch has been open to the public, this is clearly the biggest harvest that they've ever had. That's why I'm sitting on a pumpkin.
Well, it's by far our biggest by acreage. We've never had anything quite this big. In fact, behind us, we've actually removed our entire parking lot to make more room for more pumpkins. So it's really, in the last few years, has grown exponentially, which is great.
The damaging drought years are a thing of the past. Now, Nash Ranch is ready to squash their previous success.
Last year was our best year ever up until that point, so this year we're hoping for the same thing, just better every year, getting bigger, having more people.
Ranch life is not easy. It's around-the-clock work, year-round. For Lewis, whose grandfather began building Nash Ranch in 1953, the payoff is, well, it's all around them.
It's really a family-run operation. It really is just us out here alone. 11 months of the year, basically, and so you never know how it's going to turn out. You have to put in all this work and all this time and money just on blind faith that it's going to go well. So to look out behind us and see a really beautiful crop with a really beautiful canopy and the weather's shaping up real nice, it feels good.
And as the El Nino pattern continues, the West Coast will continue to see more rain events like this to continue growing their plants. But back here at home, Here's a look at today's Weather Almanac.
Well, another big weekend coming up of college football. We've got the Talladega race weekend. Here is a check on the weather forecast.
We are almost to the weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of events going on, football games and other things happening too.
Why don't we talk about it?
Let's
give you
do
an
it.
update on the forecast.
We get started here. UAB is on the road. They are headed to New Orleans, Louisiana, the Big Easy, and hopefully it's easy for the Blazers.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game there. 11 a.m. kickoff, a little early. Looking at some lower 80s. I think for most of this game is going to be relatively dry. There could be a pop-up nearby, but overall 10, maybe a 20% chance for rain by the end of that game.
And then next we have Auburn Tigers playing host. I can't remember the name of this team.
Georgia.
Yeah, you were in the band there at Georgia, weren't you?
Yes, I
Now,
was.
I understand dogs and kitty cats don't get along very well.
It's a great rivalry. It's one of the oldest South rivalries, and we're looking at a hot forecast for this game. Near 90 around kickoff, cooling down to lower 80s. You got Auburn's got a pretty good defense. You got a quarterback, first away game. What do you think about the score, Mickey? Putting you on the spot.
Well, I don't know, but Georgia is highly favored, being the #1 team in the country. We also have Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, playing host to the #12 team in the country, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. This game is at 8 p.m., a night game there, 80 degrees at kickoff there in Starkville, Mississippi, and cooling off to about 74 degrees with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies for that matchup.
And what's your prediction score for this game?
I don't really know.
See what I'm doing? I'm putting them on the spot. Hey, we got additional football games we want to share as well. We got Jacksonville State. They're taking on Sam Houston. This is going to be in Huntsville, Texas. Lots of sunshine. That's going to be a pretty hot game. It's at kickoff at 88 degrees, and that's at 7 p.m. So that's a little toasty start, but thankfully those temperatures cool down. East Tennessee State and Samford. It's a home game for Samford. We're looking at mid-80s at kickoff at noon. And then, of course, you got Tuskegee and Alabama A&M in Huntsville, Alabama, kickoff at 2 p.m. Another hot afternoon of football with temperatures near 90.
Well, all those games look like the weather is going to be pretty nice for a fall weekend, but it's feeling very summer-like in some of these locations, including the Yellowwood 500. Boogity, boogity, boogity. We have temperature readings at 1 p.m. at 86 degrees, and it's getting close to 90 degrees. You're going to be out there in the heat and in the sunshine for several hours there. So you probably need to take some precautions there, Matt.
Yeah, so let's prepare for the weekend. You want to grab a hat, some sunglasses. You want to apply the sunscreen if you're going to be outside for a while, and drink plenty of water because we're looking pretty dry and more summer-like this weekend.
That pink blouse is not my color, I tell you. It just doesn't go with my eyes. Weather on the go, you can check it out. You know, if you are about to head out to the ball game and you forgot what our forecasts are like, you can just dial it in. It's based on your location, and you can see the forecast there, and maybe snap a picture or two. Send it in to us.
Sounds good. And coming up on Monday on Weather Extra, Mickey will give you his prediction of the scores that happened 2 days before that on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
well, I'll let you know the scores, and I'll say I predicted them.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
You know what amazes me is, you know, Mickey is our fashion expert, right? He tells you what to wear.
Yeah. Listen, I'm taking notes, Wes. I'm like, okay, picking out my outfit for the weekend, even though I'm going to be indoors watching the games like you just said you will be too.
Yeah, and you had some of the weather cake from Cropwell today. You didn't get any on you.
No.
You know? Oh. It's a little bit different than barbecue, right?
Yeah. Yeah, barbecue's a little messy.
Yeah, a little messy. I know a lot of folks will be grilling out this weekend, and as they mentioned, you know, we're going to have some dry weather Saturday and Sunday. Afternoon temperatures, yeah, on the hot side, but you know, Tania, you step out even like right now, I mean, you can tell it's less humid. It really helps.
It doesn't feel as brutal, especially what we dealt with in the summer, but I do want to stress, definitely bring the sunscreen, drink lots of water, especially if you're going to be out the race or in that direct sunlight for those long periods of the day.
Yeah, and finally, we're seeing some wet weather, and we're going to be closely watching in the long range next week around next Thursday and into next Friday, the possibility of some wet weather, and then a drop in temperatures. You know what's coming, right? We'll be talking more about that long range forecast and those changes ahead tonight. We'll have the latest first at 9. Thanks for watching.